Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey guys, this is Jason, back at you with Nerd News. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to do a review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. It has been long enough. If you have not seen the movie yet, you should have by now. But a spoiler alert is in effect. We are going to talk about specific details. We are going to spoil things. I am joined for this venture into the spoilery by Joe.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Living life.
So it's been, obviously, I guess almost a month now. Over a month.
Over
a month now.
Yeah, like a month and like 8 days.
Since,
Month and a week.
Since Star Wars Gray Star screens back in the end of 2017.
And if you're already rolling your eyes about the fact that he said Grace, you're wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to start just by saying that the biggest thing I'm having a problem with in the aftermath of watching Star Wars is just hearing how everybody's being so negative.
Yeah.
Because in all reality, I don't feel like any of the negativity holds any water at all.
I feel like it's like a cultural phenomenon that this many people's butts hurt all at once.
Right?
Like,
that's got to be some kind of record.
I mean,
most butthurt?
Did more voices cry out in butthurt than did when Alderaan blew up? Like, that's what I want to know. Obi-Wan, can you tell me?
So, yeah, I mean, I think that is kind of, you're right. I mean, that is kind of unprecedented. But again, like, the things that I've been hearing people complain about just really don't make any sense to me. Everyone's been saying, this transformation that we've done with Luke is completely out of character. This is not something he would do. And I don't feel like that's the truth at all.
No, not at all. I mean,
so abandoning the Force, right? Failing in his mission and going to Octo and cutting himself off from the Force, those things may be slightly deviant from where he was before.
Right.
But
it's also been 32 years.
Right. I mean, can anybody say they're the same when they're in their 20s as they are when they're in their 60s?
I can guarantee you right now, I'm not the same I was 4 years ago.
Right, exactly. So I don't understand this criticism. It really doesn't make any sense to me because I think as somebody who watched the rise and fall of the Empire, I mean, yes, he's a baby when it all starts, but he lived most of his life, watching how this government, organization, this dictatorship started slowly taking over the galaxy.
Right.
And it was led by two Sith lords, right?
Yeah.
Like Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, who he obviously later finds out is his father. I mean, when he senses the same darkness again, the same potential to destroy the universe in Kylo Ren, I think it's completely understandable that he has a moment of weakness where he thinks that he needs to stop it before it begins.
Yeah, that's basic hero stuff of hubris, which, I mean, if we're following Luke's lifeline here, he's 100% just the hero's journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hubris is a giant part of that. So, I mean, of course he had a moment of weakness. That's
absolutely.
Part of what makes him human. If he didn't, I'd, much more question the story as a good story.
Yeah.
Because you have to have real characters.
Right. They're supposed to be flawed.
Yeah. So he has a flawed moment for a sec. An understandable flawed moment, but a flawed moment nonetheless that unfortunately fucks over half the galaxy.
Right. I mean, and there's definitely evidence, within Star Wars already, canon Star Wars films, that Luke gets tempted by the dark side. The Skywalkers get tempted by the dark side. Yeah. That is part of their legacy and will always be.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing.
Right. He got tempted by the dark side.
I've got my own reasons for why they get tempted, but regardless, absolutely, temptation is definitely a factor here. That's how you build a strong hero character. You have to tempt them. So, of course, that temptation is not just going to end because, oh no, the Empire's defeated. It's along the same idea of, if you believed, that moment the war was over and the good guys won, New Republic and stuff, you're a fool.
Yeah, the Empire...
that's not how stories work at all.
So, I think coming all around full circle, I mean, the choices that he makes are completely justified, and he feels so bad about said choice that he just leaves it all behind.
Yeah, I mean, between his own guilt for what he's done and his own weakness, and then seeing it, and I'm sure there was a period of contemplation before he decided the Octo thing.
Yeah.
Where he contemplated how this kind of thing keeps happening to the Jedi, and that's why that's such a big lesson towards Rey. okay, let's just not do that anymore. So he
Right.
cuts himself off from the Force. It's
We're
a
gonna stop. Yeah.
completely justifiable thing of
Mhm.
like, no more.
Right, we're going to stop creating the potential for world-ending characters.
Yes. Not only will I not be involved, I will completely disregard the ability to help anyone be involved. I'm going to go way over here, never talk to anybody, die a lonely old man drinking purple blue milk. Blue milk off of weird rock sea creatures.
Yeah, weird rock breasty sea creatures.
I looked up what they were called. I completely forgot.
Yeah. I remember the little, the little penguin things. They were
The puffins.
that's actually kind of a little funny story. The reason that they used
No,
those
they
little
couldn't
porgs,
get rid of all the puffins on the
it
island.
was because
so
the
they
island in Ireland that they filmed at had these little penguin-looking things running around, these little puffin birds,
and they couldn't do anything about it, so they just digitally edited them into creatures.
Just digitally replaced them with actual Star Wars
Which works
creatures.
out following into Star Wars canon of turning it into a kid's toy because marketing. If you don't understand that as the true powerhouse behind Star Wars, again, you're kind of foolish.
Yeah, I mean that was
marketing.
That was George Lucas's only moment of genius, is he retained all merchandising rights for his franchise.
And everybody's been trying to do it since.
Yeah, that's how he became a billionaire, literally overnight.
Yeah,
kids, never underestimate the ability of kids to convince their parents to buy them toys.
Right. Anything to get them to shut up.
But anyway, so obviously, the backlash has been strong against Luke for all of these things we're talking about. But I think ultimately he still goes out a hero. He still saves the galaxy, and he's honestly created, he's made himself a martyr.
Yeah,
the galaxy will remember him fondly. The galaxy will hate the First Order for destroying him, right? Because as far as everybody knows, he gets destroyed by the First Order.
Yeah,
no one else knows that. It's all about the people who saw the events and can tell the story. So yes, Luke does give his life, allowing the Resistance to escape and be reborn, allowing Rey to go off in her own direction and try to find her own way to live this life. Because obviously the ways that Luke had known, and even Yoda and Obi-Wan had known for so long, they didn't work.
Right.
They kept leading to tragedy.
Oh, I will always feel bad for Luke in that regard, because he was trained by what I will always consider two fanatics who definitely didn't give him enough information.
Well, yeah,
they were from a broken order on its last legs in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, even before the Old Republic actually fell.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, their way, not so good.
Right.
Not so good.
So all of that aside, I think that argument, the argument that this all of this is out of character for Luke, is obviously something that is wrong.
Yeah.
We need to put this aside. This is not true.
Yeah.
Looking at Luke and his temptation by the dark side and his propensity to do terrible things and then regret them almost immediately is not something that comes out of left field. This is something that has been established by his character, and ultimately he ends up going out the hero that we all remember him as. So,
it's the end of Return of the Jedi all over again, where he's tempted in the dark side, almost kills Vader, then realizes what he's doing and regrets it immediately.
Yeah, and I gotta say,
it's the exact same fold.
Yeah, I gotta say too, man, that moment at the end where Kylo says to him, like, the Resistance will die here today, the last Jedi will be killed, and Luke just goes, it's so amazing to me. Every single one of those things you said is wrong.
Yeah.
The Resistance is reborn today.
Right.
And I will not be the last Jedi. Chills. I'm getting chills just talking about it. Right. That moment blew me away. So, in any regard, I think we need to that argument, that fear that this movie has done something different needs to be put aside. Right. And even everybody saying, force projections are not a thing, right? That's not a thing. Okay,
did you see Ryan Johnson's clapback about that?
Yes,
I
did.
With his
My
video in his house,
me that
pulling the Jedi path off the wall.
And I had that book. Before she even told me, before I read that article, she had sent it to me, and I was driving, and I didn't get a chance to read it.
Right.
Before I even read that article, she started telling me what it was about, and talking about how people say, oh, Luke, the force projection is not something Luke can do. And myself, as the owner of the Jedi Path book as well, said that's bullshit, because Jedi can absolutely do that.
Right.
There is precedent for it. And maybe the Jedi Path is or is not continuity, but obviously Ryan Johnson is using it for inspiration.
Right.
Which, honestly, I think is great.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a great book. If you've never read The Jedi Path, it's a great book. You should check it out. They got one for the Sith Order, I think, or the Sith Code, I think it's called.
Sith Code, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a Bounty Hunter one. There's an Imperial Handbook.
Yeah.
They're great books. They're really cool
they're
little...
fantastic.
Yeah, like, here's the training manual for what you're doing.
You know what I want to know on the opposite of that? Like,
What?
The people who say Jedi can't do that, where are you getting that information?
Right.
Like seriously.
It just comes from your own entitled nerd brain.
Yeah,
what it does.
Like, either A, you're trying to use something from, like, Legends lore, which, if you are, then sure, there's a contradiction there between whatever that is and the Jedi Path book.
Right.
But even if you're using that, that's Legends lore. At this point, neither of these things are canon if you're going to go that route.
Exactly.
And none of that matters.
Exactly.
So that argument's completely invalid.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone who makes that argument, but don't, because it's wrong.
Your arguments are wrong.
If you're going to make an argument like that, I need proof. I need substance and facts thrown at me.
Yeah.
Of where you got this idea that they can't do that.
If you're going to make your argument, be able to defend your argument.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be able to defend your point of view.
Like, what is force projection other than a force ghost? Which, obviously, force ghosts already exist. Why wouldn't somebody be able to project their own, or learn to project their own while they're still alive?
Yeah, and honestly, what I don't understand about all of this is, when did we as fans, as Star Wars fans, become so unaccepting of new things? That's what's built this universe that we love so much, is new things. The first time I played Knights of the Old Republic...
Right.
I was blown away by Revan and the story, and it was new, it was different, it was about a Jedi that wasn't a Skywalker. And why is that such a bad thing? That was something that used to warm our hearts.
Right. I think a lot of that, in a way, has to do with hesitation because of what happened with the prequels.
I mean, I get that, right?
And I think... I'm not mad at that. Like, I understand your hesitation and your fear and whatnot there, but, like, fear is the route to the dark side, bro.
Wow, you went there.
I did. Somebody was going to have to.
Just drop some Yoda knowledge up in here.
But no, like, you need to be, like, I get why people were so mad about the EU getting thrown out. Like, it's the same idea. If we had good stories, like, why would you toss that? Like,
right, but they've shown with characters like bringing back Thrawn...
Yeah.
And others that have come out of old stories that they are willing to pick and choose and kind of at least use some of the established expanded universe canon.
Right. And, I mean, I'll always say what I said first when they announced that was, good, they can't ruin a character I already love.
Exactly.
Like,
right, yeah.
You know, because if they had kept the old canon and then tried to do Jason and Jaina and did it incorrectly, everybody was going to be mad about that.
Exactly.
But we're
that's
not,
the best point.
We're not doing that.
Right,
I'm getting a new story,
right.
So I have no expectations, and I think that's the main thing. Everybody has expectations about what they want, what they would do.
Okay, so
when you need to just let the story be itself.
Right, that's what I'm saying. When did we as fans think that it was... Like, it was our responsibility to write the Star Wars movies.
Like, do you often read
this doesn't belong to us? You know, metaphorically and you know, within our hearts it belongs to us, but it's not owned by us. We do not get to dictate what it is or how the story will be told.
Right.
Also, what is wrong with Rey and Finn and Poe and even... You know, new characters like DJ and, you know, Rose. These are great characters. What's wrong with telling a story that doesn't involve Luke, Han, and Leia?
Honestly, I think a lot of the problem people have with Rose, I don't know if they've thought about it on a conscious level, but, like, Rose is partially, in Last Jedi, like, the new amalgamation of the viewer in the film. In my opinion, this is based on her first scene where she's, like, fawning over Finn.
Sure.
In my opinion, because, like, now these characters are legends. So we have a more grounded character to pay attention to who's seeing it kind of through that eyes, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of, like...
You brought down the Death Star.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You brought down Starkiller Base.
Yes. So, you know, like, I think they just don't like being pigeonholed into her. I guess.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe.
But even if that's not the case, right? Even if you want to...
I mean, she's a super millennial.
Well, yeah. I mean, I love the character. And I also thought DJ was a really cool character, even though we don't really know much about him at this point.
Right.
But, again, even if we just throw all that out, we just look at the core group of Rey and Finn and Poe.
Right.
What is so bad about telling a story with compelling characters that draws us in and makes us want to keep watching? That's why Luke, Han, and Leia resonate so well with us.
Because it's not Luke, Han, and Leia. But
again, we as fans used to welcome stories that didn't involve Luke, Han, and Leia.
Yeah.
We used to love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You started telling me about the Sith, Darth Vader, and the Empire hunting down all the Jedis with the Purge, the comic series and book series, right? That was amazing,
great
right? You started telling me about the Old Republic and Revan.
Yeah.
And the plight of the Mandalorians and his fight against them and his splitting from the Jedi Order and ultimately falling to the dark side and meeting Malak, and all of these things, and then going into Knights of the Old Republic 2, continuing that story. That didn't have anything to do with Skywalkers, and I loved it, and we as fans loved it.
Yeah.
So why can't we accept that the movies can do that too?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
This does not and honestly, even if you want to say, oh, it's not a story about Skywalkers anymore, Ben is a Skywalker.
Yeah,
regardless of the fact that he is Han and Leia's child, he is a Skywalker. He has the Skywalker legacy.
Yeah, I mean, his last name is Solo. He is a Skywalker.
So even if you want to say, oh, they're just leaving all the things behind, well, he's still here.
Yeah.
He is still your connection to that old thing. And yes, is he the bad guy? Presumably.
Kind of.
Right, kind of. Yeah.
I will continue to fight that he is a redeemable bad guy because if they wanted him to just be the antagonist, he never would have taken the mask off.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
Darth
We never would have
Vader
seen
is
his face.
redeemable.
We'd never see him emote.
Right.
He would have been this towering dark figure because cliches.
Yeah. and again, just looking back, Darth Vader is a redeemable character. So if Darth Vader can be redeemed, Kylo Ren can be redeemed.
Yeah.
Bad guys can be redeemed. That's how the Force works.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So we've gotten off on these tangents here about
a little bit. Basic review. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
it's a great movie. If you can let go of any expectations or wants that you hardcore needed, I need to know about the Knights of Ren. The movie doesn't answer that.
That's why the movie impressed me so much. Right?
I don't need it to answer every question.
Well, sure.
Because first off,
it's a trilogy.
First off, yeah, it's the second movie in a trilogy. There's still plenty of time to answer that. And then, B, it also opens up for, room for a new expanded universe, because that's how we got questions from the original series. And I don't think a lot of fans are thinking about that. All the ones, especially, in my opinion, my best example for this is all the ones complaining about, oh, Snoke just shows up and dies. He was a completely useless character. So was the Emperor. Sure. So was the Emperor originally.
The Emperor,
no other knowledge
not
of him.
in Star Wars Episode 4. He's in Episode 5 for one scene, and he just comes around to boss Darth Vader around, and then he gets his moment to shine in Return of the Jedi. And yes, we won't get
and he cackles a little in a chair and then dies.
Yeah.
100% what happens with him. Same thing happens with Snoke.
They just did it in 2 movies instead of 3.
Yeah, which I'm not mad at, because A, we'll probably get more on him later in books or something else, and B, he utterly served his purpose of being that integral key point in Kylo's arc.
Right.
Because it's not just the hero's arc we're getting Ben's here as well.
And honestly, one of the things I always used to love about the Sith and their story is that once the student has exceeded the master's power, they will ultimately try to take that power.
Yeah.
That's how the Sith work, right?
Yeah,
so I love that we got to see that play out in a movie. Yes.
Yeah.
We see that play out in a movie. We've always heard it talked about. The Emperor tells it to Darth Vader.
Well, I will say, though, that I don't see that as the rule of 2 with Kylo. I don't see that as that rise.
I think it was he had learned everything he could from this old man, and this old man needed to die.
See, I see it as him realizing that Snoke is his abuser and rising above that. Not because of Sith learning or anything like that. And my argument for this is one of his first lines in the movie, when Snoke's berating him and he says, I gave you everything, and there's a pause before he says, to the dark side. And I don't think it's about him giving everything to the dark side. I think he was trying to give everything to Snoke, and it wasn't enough. And this movie, is him hardcore realizing that, Snoke's garbage, and really just his abuser. And part of the problem in the same way that Luke's part of the problem. He now looks at Snoke the same way he looks at Luke. Yeah. And thus the whole...
The teacher has failed him.
Yeah, he's been failed once again. And, that's what breaks him.
Right.
And that's why he didn't like full go like Darth Vader style after killing Han. Like it wasn't about becoming stronger and part of the dark side.
Killing Han made it worse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was the point of killing Han. Killing Han is the same thing that's going to happen to him because Luke is now dead.
Right.
Because Luke utters that famous line in a different way, which I thought was really cool.
Yes.
By saying, "If you strike me down in anger, I will always be with you."
Yes.
Right? And I have a feeling that those of you who are sad that Luke is dead, rejoice, because I have a feeling we're going to see Luke Ghost in the third film.
I'd be really surprised if we did.
Right? That's just a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if that's not, like, because I think that the movie shatters expectations, and I think that's the good thing, right? I had a lot of expectations. We all did.
Right.
We all knew what we wanted this film to be.
Right.
We all had our own ideas about what that was, and our own ideas about what who the characters are. And the fact that it shatters all of that is what makes it such a good film.
Yeah.
The fact that it doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah.
That it really just goes and tries to do its own thing and build its own universe is great.
No, 100%. I'm super behind my favorite line in the movie. That is absolutely the message, specifically from Rian Johnson to the fans. Let old things die.
Let the past die.
Yeah.
Kill it if you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant.
I put that in my article on the blog. I was like, this is what Rian Johnson is saying to us.
Right.
Right. Through this character, he's saying to us, let it die. We're going to do something new now.
Right. Which is part of my argument as well for, like, Kylo not following the rule of two.
Sure.
Like, this isn't about that.
Sure.
This is about killing old things.
Yeah, I mean, the
Progress.
What you said about another teacher failing him, that makes the most sense because in all reality, he sees once Rey is captive, he sees that he doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. That
Rey is the only thing that matters.
Yeah. No.
And he uses that as a ploy to take out Snoke.
He realizes he is nothing but a tool to this man.
Exactly.
And then he does exactly what Snoke says and takes out his true enemy.
Right. Yeah. And it's great. I'm urging, if you have not seen the movie, man, you gotta see the movie.
And if
you have seen the movie, go see it again.
Yeah, go see it. Try to have a more open mind.
Yeah.
Like it's a beautiful film.
And let's all stop complaining about things that don't merit complaining.
Yeah.
Let's embrace new Star Wars like we used to as fans.
Yeah.
We used to welcome expanded universe and new things. Let's welcome that again.
Right.
Right?
I need that. I need more of that in my life.
And honestly, how can you not like Rey? Rey is the greatest.
I get why a lot of people complain about her being a Mary Sue, but I mean, if
Jedi,
if at this point you're not used to overly powerful Force users that are kind of Mary Sue characters,
they're
but not
space
really.
wizards.
They're space wizards.
They're space wizards,
and like she's no more a Mary Sue than like Luke or Anakin or any of them have ever been.
They're space wizards.
Yeah.
Let's stop overanalyzing this idea because when you break it down to its core, they're space wizards, and that's ridiculous and doesn't require overanalyzing.
No.
Space wizard.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Right? That's all you need to know. You don't need to know anything else because they're powerful people.
Right.
And some of them are more powerful than others.
Right.
Way more powerful than others.
Yeah.
Super OP.
Yeah.
We even talked about Revan a couple of times. Go back and play Knights of the Old Republic. Revan is super OP.
Right. No, and I mean, like, a real world equivalent of that is, like, not everybody's a musician. I play guitar. I can't keep up with, like, Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
Some people are just better at it.
At stuff.
Yeah. So that's a normal thing, just equated to space magic.
Exactly. It's space magic.
So, yeah. Go back to loving Star Wars and...
Yeah. Let's stop fighting.
I mean, put some cream on your butt.
Yeah.
Soothe that ache.
We know your butt hurt. Look, we understand.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
But realize why you should be butthurt is wrong.
Realize that your butt hurt because your own fist is up there and take it out.
Okay. Just put
I'm going
some
there.
cream on it. Put some cream on it. That was the best. That was the best advice. Put some
Okay.
cream on that butthurt and go watch Star Wars again and stop using this kind of entitled hang up that Star Wars fans seem to have, that this property belongs to them and they get to dictate what it is, because you don't. It's not yours. It's Disney's. And in all reality, did you think Disney was always going to just keep doing the same thing?
No.
Look how the prequels did. That stopped making George Lucas money. That's why he decided that he might sell Lucasfilm in the first place.
Right.
Right? Because it's not working. It wasn't. He had done everything that he could do.
Right.
So in order to keep it fresh, in order to bring in new fans, we have to break new ground.
Okay. to wrap up this review a little bit, I think we both should say one thing. How many out of 5 stars, and where do you place it on your list if you can decide that yet?
I mean, I can decide that, right? I'd say it's not a perfect movie,
No.
but it is a great Star Wars film, and it does things that needed to happen to make Star Wars relevant and keep it relevant to new fans and old fans alike. I give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
And honestly, it will always be my favorite film is Empire Strikes Back. I know that sounds cliche because everybody says that, but I'm going to tell you.
I mean, there's a lot of good reasons for Empire.
The reason I enjoy it so much is the same reason I enjoyed The Last Jedi and even The Force Awakens. Because they literally had nothing. George Lucas had no creative input at all.
Right.
And I'm not saying that George Lucas is not a guy who brought something magical to my life. He did.
Right.
Okay, and I respect him for that, and I will always.
Right.
But the man cannot write, and he's not a good director.
No.
You got to stick to what you know.
No, he's a great idea guy.
He's an idea
and
guy.
then you just give that to somebody else,
and then you
realize
hand it
your
off.
vision.
And the reason that Empire Strikes Back is so good is because George Lucas had so little to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
He had an idea for the sequel to Star Wars, and he handed it over to Richard Marquand and Lawrence Kasdan, and they made a good film that not only exceeded the original, but made fans excited about the possibility of more.
Right. Well, on your list of now 9 Star Wars films, where does it rank?
Last Jedi is probably 3rd for me at this point.
Okay.
Because it is the top 2 for me. The top 3 are Empire, Star Wars, and now Last Jedi.
Okay.
It was Empire, Star Wars, and Force Awakens. Because I'm not a big fan of Return of the Jedi. I know that you are. I'm not a huge fan of Return of the Jedi.
I am. I love Return of the Jedi.
There's moments that are great. It's right. It's right underneath that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's the next one down the list.
Okay.
But yeah. So how about you?
I will give it 4.5 out of 5.
Always got to one up me. Huh?
No, not largely. I just there's very few things I have a problem with in the movie, if any at all. There might be like
Fair.
2. I love it. I need to go see it more.
Yeah.
I've only watched it 3 times, and I'm mad about that.
Oh, I'm dying to get a digital copy, man.
Oh man, I can't wait till it comes out on
I
Blu-ray.
know.
And as far as the list goes, like controversially, I have always had Return of the Jedi as my favorite. The Last Jedi is now ranked just under that. I like it better than Empire. Not by much.
Sure.
But I like it better than Empire.
I assume Empire's 3.
Yeah, Empire would be 3
Okay.
at that point, followed by Force Awakens, and we'll not worry about the rest of the list.
Ridiculous, man.
Attack of the Clones is the last one.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's least favorite.
Oh, no, I know people who that is in their top 4.
Okay, so of normal people who understand the prequel movies were garbage.
Yes, yeah.
I would think that is the worst of the prequel movies for most of those people.
I would hope so, yes.
Because, again, Phantom Menace was bad, but it did things that I liked.
Right.
Like, it introduced me to characters I was interested in continuing to
It
follow.
also has the best Star Wars score. Because if you don't think Duel of Fates is the best song that John Williams has ever made, you're wrong.
Yeah, it's one of the best songs ever.
But anyways, yeah, Last Jedi is my second favorite now. And I need to go see it again. And I'm wearing my Kylo Ren shirt, which is what I wear every time I go see it so far.
I'm wearing my St. Louis Cardinal shirt, my pajamas, because, that's how we do this podcast life.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, but that is going to bring us to the end. Thank you guys for listening. Do me a favor, go over and check out entertainthegeeky.com. We've got so much stuff going on. We've rehauled this entire website. We've got blog posts. We've got quick nerd news excerpts. Chris, Roger, and myself are adding content on a daily basis. So please do us a favor, go over and check that out. You can check out the gear page. Get yourself an Entertain the Geeky shirt with my goofy cartoon face on it, or Chris and Roger's goofy cartoon faces. Those are things that you can check out and buy. They're pretty cheap too. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/entertainmentgeeky. Twitter at entertaingeeky. And if you want to chat with myself and let me know what you think of the show, or just suggest topics or things that you'd like to hear me do more of, hit me up with an email at etgnerdnews@gmail.com. So we're going to see you guys next time. We'll have some more news for you, and hopefully we'll have Joe back sometime in the future as well. I want to thank him for coming and ranting about Star Wars with me.
Anytime we get the chance.
I know, right? All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and stay geeky.